Hello, I am Ginger Haber, Superintendent of Ellensburg School District. The Ellensburg School District is seeking input from stakeholders as it looks to reduce approximately $1 million from its 23-24 budget. The ESD Board of Education approved a process at a special meeting on January 3rd that will involve two committees working over the next 3 months, as well as a community-wide survey to make recommendations to the board on necessary budget cuts. Two committees will be responsible for addressing the budget challenge. These committees include the Staff Budget Committee, consisting of 2 representatives from each employee group, and the Student-Centered Learning Committee, including parents, staff, and community members. The Student-Centered Learning Committee, which was formed in 2022 and reopened this fall, allowed additional members to join and now has over 30 members. It was really important to us that we have all stakeholders involved as much as possible in this process. Budget shortfalls are a widespread problem in the state, with many school districts struggling to serve their communities with insufficient funding. In 2020, districts received additional federal funding through the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Fund, or ESSER. However, now that these funds are being depleted, districts are facing challenges in maintaining services. The Ellensburg School District is no exception, as it works to cut approximately $1 million from its 23-24 budget. And here in ESD, we have a plan for that process, and that is what I will be going over with you. So this first slide talks about how the teams will flow through the process. To start, we have, as I mentioned, an ESD Staff Budget Committee and a separate Student-Centered Learning Committee. On January 17th, these two committees will come together, and together we will identify norms that will be used in both committees, an overview of the process. We will identify a consensus model that will be used by all committee members, and look at the principles and the board priorities that will guide this whole budget reduction process. Then on February 21st, the ESD Staff Budget Committee will meet separate from the Student-Centered Learning Committee. And each of these committees will be looking at the same list, which is our budget items for review list. And their job on the February 21st will be to list as many impacts as possible for each of the items on this list. Every single member on the committee has an opportunity to ensure that their ideas around impacts gets put on this budget item for review list. Then these two separate committees come back together in March, and they'll use a consensus model to move items from the under review list to the final budget reduction list. And the committees make this final list. They'll use a consensus model again for that, and those recommendations will be made to the board April 12th. This flow sheet shows you how data will flow throughout the process. On January 9th, we sent a survey out to our parents and staff, and the survey is also posted on the front of our website. The survey will close January 23rd, and during that week, a district team and some members from ESD 105 will come together, will analyze the survey data and place items on the non-quantifiable list, as well as the budget items under review list. The items on the non-quantifiable list will also include any kind of items that really don't align very well with the principles that guide the process. On February 21st, this budget items under review list will be given to each of the separate committees. Again, they will be looking at each single item and identifying all the possible impacts that would occur if that item was put on the list to be cut from the budget for next year. Then in March, both committees come together again, and they look at this master list of all of the impacts and all of the budget items under review. So all the brainstorming that happens in the separate committees on February 21st, all of that gets synthesized together on one list, which will be given to both the committees when they're together in March, and then their goal through a consensus model will be moving items from the budget item under review list to the final list. In March, this is what the process will look like. Again, ESD staff committee and student-centered learning committee members come together. Members of both committees get put into mixed groups of about 5. And then each of the 5 mixed group stakeholders groups reviews the budget items under review list and the impacts. And then by consensus within the group of 5, each group then chooses their top 3 budget items under review that they would move to the final budget reduction list. Each group of 5 stakeholders then write their top 3 budget items on a chart paper and then present their chart paper to the whole group. Those charts then get put up on the wall. After all the charts are presented, each individual will be given several little sticky dots to individually place a sticky dot next to the items on any of the charts that are posted on the wall that they most agree with. Items on the chart that receive the most dots will be reviewed again with the whole group, and consensus will be necessary again from the whole group to move items to the final budget reduction list. And again, this whole process will be repeated, which is why we are slating at least 2 two-hour March meetings for this process. And the final budget reduction list should total very close to 1 million. And then again, this final list will be presented to the board on April the 13th or the 21st, whichever, especially depending on when the committees are done with this process. We'll be making those recommendations to the Board of Education, and the Board of Education will ultimately make the decision as to what items actually get reduced or cut from the budget for next year. Thank you. Please contact me if you have any questions, and please, if you haven't had a chance, please fill out the survey. Your voice is very important in this process. Thank you.